Your co-host Jamie Hadler reporting here. It's gloomy. The Bears are still in the playoffs. We're not. Hopefully, the Bears they don't win the Super Bowl. That's all you can pray as a Packer fan. I mean, all we can say is the Bears still suck. Even if they win the Super Bowl, they will always still suck. That's just the true version of it, folks. The true version.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
That's all they give him? That's all they give him?
That's all they give them, folks. You know, we truly deserve to have better season for us as Packer fans. We should have better one, but that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case for us. And so we're here on the off season, and it's only been I don't know how many days. We've been counting since every day. We've been ranting every since on our text messages about Packers losing and LaFleur staying, firing, Bisaccia again out of Green Bay and go to retirement home. Somebody said so many things, especially how Packer fan Twitter has gone since the last couple of days. But we weren't the only team that lost, guys. The Eagles lost, so I didn't. So as me and Jeff live in the Philadelphia area, we did not get berated as much from the Eagle fans too much because they also lost. So that was the kudos to us. So basically, the old saying is, if I can't win, nobody can win. So you got to bring them down with the anchor, of course, folks. Yeah, and then the Bears won, and then they will be playing. So hopefully Devontae Adams gets it going here, folks. But welcome to Pack Reacts. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Hadler, along with my co-host, Mike, who we don't know where Mike's camera is because it's off. So he might be in a darkness retreat out here as we sit fire. Oh, never mind. The cheese head. There we go. Right? That's high. And that's our
Hi,
other
Jeremy.
co-host, Mike. Hi. How are you
Can you
doing,
hear me,
Mike?
Jeremy?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
This is my form of a paper bag. I don't have any paper bags, so this is my form.
You gotta draw the frowny face on it.
Yeah, you should draw it. Yeah, get a Sharpie and draw the frowny face on it, Mike. What a
no
season.
cheese graters. That's
Yeah.
But
So yeah.
I'm gonna put that down. They sound good in theory, but they're way too heavy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And then we got our guest Jeff coming back here, folks. Welcome back,
Whoa.
Jeff.
Good to see
Are
you,
we
fellas.
announcing a promotion?
Hey, you gotta welcome
First
Jeff
time
back
hearing
in.
about this.
But
No,
Jeff,
thanks for having me
you
back,
have
fellas.
more of a role.
Yeah,
No.
Jeff's come over our role here, folks.
You guys got to announce it for me. I can't be announcing my own promotion.
Jeremy, it's your idea.
All right, fine. I'll announce it here. All right, so to wrap up this season here, season 4 of Pack Reacts, to start season 5, which we'll begin probably in a month or two at this rate, and then we'll go on a short hiatus, and then we'll get back to the season. But really, for the true football next season, Jeff will be our co-host alongside with us. So Jeff will be joined as a recurring host with us. So he will be also giving his opinion with us. So it will now be me, Mike, and Jeff. So basically 2 J's and M. So what does that give you? MJ and another J. So MJ's all around here, folks. Hopefully those are goats. So maybe the Packers get goats from MJ's. But hey, we got Jeff as our new co-host arriving on our show.
Thanks, fellas. Yeah, I guess that's what a year plus of a group chat with a good chemistry between us does, and me mostly keeping Mike in check when he's ready to jump off the ledge on every third down play or incomplete pass.
You know, it's that and Jeremy was sick of me for being unreliable every week. So he's like, we need to add some backup here.
Well, between the two of us, maybe we'll provide a consistent, cohesive podcast co-host for him. But we'll see. Jeremy's the real star of the show, though.
The Cheesehead TV meetup. So
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a while now. Over.
We can
well over a
thank your addition to Tyler Herrick.
year. True, yeah. He was the bridge between us
That's right.
to meet. I'm sure knowing our personalities now, though, I'm sure we would have said hi to each other at some point. Probably
That
would have
night,
met
yeah,
regardless,
probably. More than likely.
but it was immediate though with
It was
the
fate.
the segue from Tyler. But yeah, no, thank you, fellas.
No
Glad to be in the mix. I've enjoyed my time on the episodes. Like I said, it feels like we basically have the podcast going every day in the group chat anyway. So it's
Yeah.
just a matter of actually talking it through and having it recorded is all.
Exactly. Well, we are live, folks. So that gives you here. We are live on the YouTube and on Twitter. So basically, the people watching us, which we get most of our viewers, and my grandfather who's watching us right now too, seeing it, who's an Eagles fan, but he loves watching our show. So shout out to my grandpa
Well,
watching
shout
it
out,
here.
shout out to Grandpa Hadler, and I'm sorry about the Eagles. Even though I'm not too sorry because you won last year, but we both share the 2025-2026 pain.
That's
last
true.
season, so.
Also shared hatred of the 49ers. So always
That's
want the
also
49ers to
true.
lose.
That
Did
is
anyone
also
see
true.
the like young boy that was interviewed by the
Yes.
Philadelphia media?
That was a fantastic. Who was
I
it?
didn't see that actually. I'm surprised
Oh.
my
I didn't read the
my college buddies didn't send it to me.
PackReacts Twitter because I posted about it, but
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
great.
I have that muted. Honestly, here, let me unmute it real quick.
see, well, we're not
Wow.
gonna. Jeff doesn't get the keys to the PackReacts Twitter. He could join, but right now, since
Yeah,
he's
I
muted on
don't-
Baby
Twitter, he's
steps.
not
I want to make it clear. I'm here. My content is my words, and that's it. I don't know if I'll be having a dabbling with any of the actual content production or editing or anything. But who
Well, we're
knows?
not very good at that
Maybe,
either.
yeah.
So you just join the club there. Otherwise, we probably have more followers than we do. But we got to get better at that, you know. But
All right, I changed. All right, my role is now growth strategist. I'm gonna grow this. I'm gonna grow
Hey,
this
there you
project,
go.
this podcast.
you're a business development guy. No, actually,
These are analytics too.
Yeah.
you know, I'm not going to
Analytics,
say
yeah.
who I'm talking to that's business development, but somebody I'm talking to had a career in affiliate marketing in the past.
Mhm.
And she's going to show me how to get what do you call it, affiliate links. So I probably shouldn't say that on the show, but
There you go.
there you go. So that's TBD.
Nice. I did not. Yeah, I didn't realize that was secret sauce stuff going on there. I thought you were.
I did
had a
not
story
either.
for the viewers. Anyways, appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for the promotion. Looking forward to it.
No problem. And getting back to our regular schedule program here, folks. The Packers season's over. We lost to the Chicago Bears, if you didn't already see, in the playoffs. Packers should have won it. We blew that significantly in the fourth quarter. We all know what happened. And most likely saw Romeo Dobbs' last game as a Packer, too. It's disappointing of how the season ended, boys. I mean, a lot of people say that Micah Parsons' injury, but also Zach Tom's injury in that Denver game was really the start of when the season collapsed. Now, I mean, that was also when, if you look at really this, like how the season revolves all around, was the Packers' losses and ties were really chokes and leads they had multiple times. And if you really look at it, the Packers should have had a better record, should have gone farther, and maybe had won the division, been the number one seed, and they'd be playing right now. But that's not the case. Right now, it's the 49ers taking on the Seahawks, which the Packers would have taken on the Seahawks, and facing a questionable Sam Darnold who might not play. So that really just annoys me a little if the Packers won and they would have played Seattle. So, yeah, it's a brutal season. What are your guys' thoughts?
Wait, did you say Sam Darnold might not be playing, or did I mishear you?
He might not be playing, Jeff. He's
Really?
questionable. Yeah, he is.
What? I did not know this.
This came out a couple hours ago, I believe.
Oh wow! Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's crazy.
So if that happens now, if like that could like if he's out and doesn't play, I'm like the Packers easily could have won to the NFC Championship.
Right.
But
I think
is what it
I
is.
think that's too many ifs, though. Come on.
I know, but I'm just saying. At this point, there's been so much not luck on our side. I want to say this last couple months.
For sure. Mike, you want to give your postmortem recap, or you want me to go first?
You go first. As our
All right,
new
so
guest.
let me try to summarize let me try to summarize where I'm at in my stages of coping and reflection over the last, whatever it was, 5 days since
Yep.
that brutal game.
Yep.
So no two ways about it. The actual way the game played out, absolutely devastating, right? Like we go from jumping for joy, absolute elated, just like so want to talk so much shit to Bears fans the first
Yep.
half. Everything's going so perfectly. What's funny is I don't typically, I'll crack a beer or two during a game sometimes, like if they have a good lead, but typically I don't like to start watching a game, like with a beer in hand or anything. Like I want to kind of like see what the vibe is, and then if they're really going off to a lead, I'll crack a celebratory beer at halftime and be like, all right, they got this one, right? So unfortunately, maybe I gave the game some bad juju because I cracked that beer at halftime and I was like, this is one of those games where it's like a playoff game. It's the Bears. Everything's going so perfectly. I don't know why. I just got very ahead of myself and was just like, I don't see how they could fumble this again with a 21-3, and especially getting the ball after half. I probably should have saw the McManus miss right before half as a bad omen that things were going to start to teeter. But enough about the Bears game. Obviously, we dwelled on that, all of us, over the last 5 days. But all in all, yes, they should have held on to that game. Yes, they could potentially be playing a Sam Darnold Seahawks team this weekend. At the same time, though, the offensive line clearly was struggling heavily.
Yep.
And going into Seattle and playing that defense and that defensive line would probably be nightmare fuel type stuff, right? So would you like that could have been 2014, not in the same way that the game played out, but just in terms of pain, like that could have been even more painful loss, right? Where I could have totally saw them, going blow for blow in the first half, making a competitive game, and then in just the second half, like the wheels fall off and the Seahawks kind of like steamrolled them a bit and win a 10+ point game. Like I don't think I would have been super confident going into this game, I guess is what I'm saying, all things considered, being real, especially with Sean Ryan going down during the Bears game too. So yeah, I think the Parsons injury, Tucker Kraft, like it just hit a point of inflection at the Parsons injury where they just had taken too many blows at that point. Obviously, amongst us, I was still very positive that feeling positive and optimistic that they could make some noise in the playoffs and at least beat the Bears for bragging rights. But realistically, I wasn't expecting them to make his run to the Super Bowl. It felt like they need to kind of like reload for next year in terms of honestly just heal for the most part. So all that to say, it's definitely a disappointing outcome. I'm firmly not in the boat of firing LaFleur. I personally want him back. I understand it's a point of discussion around the years, which we'll get into, but we'll dive into that a little bit further. But yeah, I definitely think you don't want to blow it up yet. You bring in a new coach, yes, that would be exciting, but you're also kind of setting back the timeline of Jordan Love's development, Micah Parsons being infused into the team. I think they just have too many chips pushed into this current configuration, and they need to give it one more crack at it and just hope that health is on their side more next year.
No, definitely agree.
There's a lot the thing I'll end on, sorry, is there's a lot to be excited about. This team is still very good. With all the injuries that we sustained, they were still dominating the Bears at one point in that game. Yes, they collapsed in the second half, but seeing Matthew Golden burst onto the scene in that game was very exciting to see. Lucas Van Ness had a great game. Some of the young guys really showed out in that game and stepped up. And you add Tucker Kraft, Micah Parsons back to this team next year, a healthy Zach Tom back to this team next year.
Yep.
I feel really good about it. It's just we just got to wash this taste out of our mouth and look forward to next year at this point.
No, definitely. Before we get to Mike's thoughts real quick, I have an update, ladies and gentlemen, from the Chicago Bears on the stadium legislation in Indiana, where they could be moving, not to be staying in Chicago, folks, but be in the state of Indiana. According to the Chicago Bears state, the legislation presented by the state of Indiana is a significant milestone in our discussions around a potential stadium development in Chicagoland's Northwest Indiana region. We appreciate the leadership and responsiveness of Governor Braun and Indiana lawmakers in advancing a framework that allows these conversations to move forward productively. What does that tell you, folks? We could be seeing no more Chicago, but Indiana Bears out here, folks, in our division. Could be. Mike, your thoughts?
Yeah. Look, I thought the season ended with Micah going down. I was right. That's why I was so depressed back then.
Yeah.
But they played exactly the way they needed to play in the first half to win the game.
Yes.
Matthew Golden really stepped up. I think the defense was playing well enough. The offensive line was playing well enough. Somebody mentioned in our chat that Edgerrin Cooper going down was kind of the turning point in the game, and I think that's fair.
Yep.
The first half, they really played exactly the way they needed to. I think they got not necessarily lucky, but I think some things happened that allowed them to take such a big lead, including um, the Bears deciding to go for it on 4th down at their own 30, which I never thought was a good idea. It was basically disrespectful. That should have been fuel to win that game. That was very disrespectful to go for it there on the 30-yard line. But look, I didn't think they were going to go very far. That's why this one doesn't sting that much. But they should have won that game, and I think it's kind of damning to the coaching on this team that you can go up to that big of a lead and then lose because of somewhat conservative play calling. I didn't think the play calling was super conservative, but they couldn't get anything going in the second half. The special teams essentially lost us this game. Don't really understand why Josh Jacobs was returning kicks towards the end of the game. I didn't think that made much sense. Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed for a half we just needed to get a touchdown or two to put them away. Could never put them away, and that sounds very much like the Packers. How many times have we ended seasons in a situation where either the other team came back, we were up for a big lead, or we were way heavily favored in the game and lost? I don't know. I just think that the Packers have a real problem with winning in the postseason in the past 15 years, really. And I didn't think this was the year for them to win because of all the injuries they had, unfortunately. I think they didn't have the injuries. That's a different story. I think we might be waltzing into the Super Bowl. If Kraft is playing, if Wyatt's playing, if Micah Parsons playing. But what's disappointing is if we would have got blown out of this game, I would have joined. I told Jeremy I wasn't going to do a show, and I think Jeremy's a little bit annoyed at me, so I have to show up. Otherwise, he's going to replace me with Jeff. But
that was a bit of a diva moment in the group chat, I will say. That was like Antonio Brown walking off the field during the Jets game.
Or AJ Brown
type moment.
Look, I've been depressed after a game. I was at Tom and Jerry's. Tom and Jerry's, we go out on Saturday night, and it's a nice singles bar. I'll say that. But it's also a Packers bar. It's funny. It's our main.
Hey, there we go.
It's our main bar to go out, but it's also a Packers bar. So we were watching the game there, and I was with a few friends, and afterwards we stayed. We were talking to people, whatnot. So I had a good time. I wasn't depressed. After the 49ers game, depressed. Remember that? Remember that game when we were the first seed and we were supposed to go the next week?
The block punt,
yeah.
That was crazy. I mean, we were supposed to go to the game, Jerry. We had the.
I was at that game, the 49ers one, where the block punt happened.
Yeah, worse for Jeff, guys.
Even worse. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was rough.
My condolences, but my condolences also to myself and Jeremy, since we were supposed to be going to the NFC Championship game, had everything booked. And that happened. So that was depressing. That was like the end of the world. The Seattle game was the end of the world. The Atlanta game and the NFC Championship
game.
What? The Bucks game, exactly.
Yeah,
all these games
that one sucked.
are goddamn nightmares. This game, look, what's the best that could happen? We beat the Bears, which was nice. We put the Bears away, right? That would have been a good win. And then more than likely go to Seattle, probably lose, but who knows? Maybe they even win in Seattle, right? Then we'd have to go through the Rams or the 49ers. So, the chances of making the Super Bowl this year, even if we would have won that game, is still pretty low.
Yeah.
But they had no business losing that game with the way they started. And that's the difficult part to me, right? The way they started, they need to win that game. And the only reason they lost that game was not because of injuries, not because of anything else. It was because of coaching. And, look, I might be the one that is against LaFleur coming back. And, look, I'm actually not 100% against him coming back. If you want to give him another year of a shot, look, I think he's kind of deserved it or earned it, even though we've only been the 7th seed the past 4 years. But we've made the playoffs every year. I don't think he's a bad coach. I just think that, look, I like LaFleur. I'll be honest with you. I like LaFleur. I've said some bad things about Goody here, and I don't dislike Goody. I think that there's some bad drafting he's done recently, but I think he's been pretty good in the free agent market, actually. Getting Parsons, getting
besides Hobbs and Banks, this was the one time where he didn't bank on in free agency, but he got Micah, so that was the one nice piece.
Right, but he got McKinney, right?
Jacobs,
So
yeah.
Jacobs, right? So like he's gotten some big names in free agency. That's what I like about Gutekunst. But I agree, his outside, additional players on what do you call it, free agency hasn't been great. But we have made some big splashes, so that's good. But look, LaFleur, I think, I don't know. There's just something that this team is lacking with LaFleur. He seems like I don't even think he's too nice. He's just too fake in some ways. Does that make sense? I wouldn't even say he's fake. He's just too much of a pretty boy to me. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, he shows up in his Lululemon pants, his manicured eyebrows, and again, it's if everything's going great, that's all great stuff.
Sexiest head coach, some people say. That's not
What?
me, but that's some people.
Huh?
He's the
Sexiest
sexiest head coach, some people say. That's not me, but that's some
Well,
people.
I mean, I think that's fair. I think it's fair personally. I mean, you got eyes, right? But the what do you call it? Look, I think that's part of the problem, right? Like, let's stop worrying about visual and just go and win a game. Like, come on, we were up in that game. Can we lose that?
You were making me laugh so much from this.
Oh my god.
What?
You sound like Mike Wall.
No, I'm
I don't know if
serious.
you, I don't know,
What
I
I'm
don't know if you
saying
guys
is
listen,
like,
listen to him.
I don't know. I just don't see a team that is rallying behind this coach. I don't know. I mean, I know that they're standing up for him and I want him back and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't see that kind of motivation on the field. Kind of almost like, yeah, I don't know. The camera kept showing Caleb Williams and he was pissed. But then they I don't know. Like, you could see some emotion. Is that fair? Like, I don't see any emotion on this team.
I don't know. I
Deshaun
personally
Nixon's the only one.
I personally struggle with that because it's like I think I said a similar thing on group chat where it's like I get what you're saying where it feels like in a lot of big moments the team has sort of deflated. Like I completely agree with that, and I'm not dismissing that. But honestly, if you take a look back over the last like 3 to 4 years, like there have been a lot of games where they've. I guess the way I would put it is that I think the biggest issue is consistency, and that's why I'm leaning toward. That's why I'm like I'm fine with LaFleur coming back one more year, but next year has to be the year. Like next year,
yes.
Like barring, like obviously, if Jordan Love goes down week 2 with like an ACL or something, God forbid, like that changes the whole dynamic of the season. But I'm saying, like, assuming they're healthier than they were this year, no drastic things out of LaFleur's control. Next year needs to be like at least NFC Championship game appearance, if not like Super Bowl appearance, in my opinion. It's not to say that I always just will make excuses for LaFleur or the team or whatever. It's just I feel like right now it would be a little bit of a brash decision to pull the plug on him. But so yeah, I mean, so going back to the players playing tough thing though, like there are definitely moments I could think of. Even the first half of the Bears game, like the first half of the Bears game, there was a lot of like the defense was blowing most of the like run game up for the Bears. Like they obviously went up to a 21-3 lead. You know, most like the offense was playing incredibly, but the defense was also very physical and blowing up. Basically on the offense and defense, the line of scrimmage was dominating the Bears. And then somehow it just completely flipped on its head in the second half.
Yep.
So it would be much more concerning if, let's say, the second half of the season, there was just no fight in this team. And it felt like every game they were getting dog walked or like outmanned or whatever, right? But I understand they ended the season on a 4-game losing streak, but there was also the concussion to Jordan Love and whatnot. But ultimately, what I'm saying is like they have these moments where they do look tough, and then it could either flip on a dime and they fizzle out, or it's just like a 1-game blip and then they look kind of soft again for 2 games or inconsistent and clunky.
Yep.
So I think it's ultimately like the narrative has been the last couple of years as the youngest team in the league, et cetera, et cetera. But at this point, that can't be the mindset anymore. It's like, yes, you have a young team, great, that's good for future development and like roster building, et cetera. But you have Micah Parsons, you have Jordan Love, you have stars on this team now that can win a Super Bowl. So their urgency has to be dialed up. And so expectations for me personally shift a lot next year. So I'm just kind of just trying to place my mindset on next season and be very excited about next season, even though the season was pretty frustrating.
Agree. Look, here's where I'm at, right? Right now, I'm fine with next year. I agree. Look, next year, I'm okay giving LaFleur. I think he's somewhat earned it. But here's the problem. LaFleur is going into his last year of his contract. And nobody wants to be a lame duck, as in, yeah, it would be great to have an option. Yeah, we'll give you 1 more year, but then a clean cut afterwards. Now, it really doesn't matter if we extend him theoretically, because even if you fire him, it's more than likely that he'll be picked up by another team and they'll just pay his salary instead, right? So I guess it doesn't really matter, even if you extended him. But um, next year has to be the last year. And I don't want to reward bad behavior with a huge extension, you know? So this is the tough situation I think we're in because I think this was his mulligan year, okay? Like, this is Ed Policy's first year as president. Ed Policy wants to start on a good note, right? We went out and get Micah Parsons. We are out 2 first-round draft picks. I was thinking, the one good thing is we have a better draft pick. And I thought to myself, wait, no, we don't. We have no better draft
Right.
pick.
Yeah. I had that thought a few times the past few days also.
So we're like all in and agree. We've been young for the past few years, and look, they've got the 7th seed backed into the playoffs. Really haven't done much, but this was the year to win, and they probably would have if it wasn't for the injuries. So you could give him this as a mulligan year. I'll accept that, even though I think this last game was insane to lose after the way.
I agree. Yeah.
But the thing is you can't have next year be the mulligan year. I know you said like, well, what happens if Jordan Love gets hurt in week 2 and knock on wood that doesn't happen? But I don't care honestly, because here's the thing: you're getting paid a ton of money to have this team win. I don't know, figure out the next guy. Like, that's your job as a coach. Now, is it likely the Packers get to the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl? The answer is no, because even if you have a good team, and the chances that you get there is no, right? So, more than likely, I would say next year is going to be his last year unless the Packers go on a run. And really, the way you go on a run is good coaching. It takes a lot to good coach. I mean, granted, yeah, you need to be have good injury luck. You need to get hot at the right time. But a lot of it is coaching, because it's a long season. And these guys, they go through 17 games, and they need to be rallied to get through another 4 games. Obviously, the playoffs is exciting, but like, that is what a good coach does, is it channels that energy to keep everyone on track, keep eyes focused on the prize, keep playing, because things get harder as you get to the Super Bowl, right? Everyone's playing for that. So you need a good coach. I'm not going to go through the history, but the past bunch of Super Bowl winners, has any of them not been a good coach? So like, we
Nick
need.
Sirianni.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni is the only questionable one if you are in the Philadelphia,
I'm
because a lot of
I'm
Eagles.
busting your you're making valid points, Mike. I'm just busting.
I
your
agree with
Go-
Mike.
Continue,
I'm just saying.
continue, though. Continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is look, next year it's got to be LaFleur's last year if they don't make the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, this team has not made the Super Bowl for 15 years.
Yep.
Almost, it's gonna be 16 next year. A lot of that wasn't his fault, but we went out to get Parsons. We have no draft picks. Like, we didn't do that just to make the playoffs and lose in the first round. So, he had some bad luck go his way. Parsons getting hurt was not good. This is his mulligan year. Next year isn't. So here's the thing: if you go into the season next year with a fancy new contract, he's not going to sign a $5 million a year contract. He's going to want $15-20 million a year. What is Harbaugh getting? $100 million, right?
Something like that. Yeah, he's getting something crazy.
So are we going to say that we can reward somebody for basically mediocre performance? What does that tell the players? That their coach, who's been mediocre and honestly probably should be fired at the moment, we're going to give him a mulligan year and pay him $20 million a year and top dollar. I mean, that doesn't send a good message to the team.
That's been Mike Tomlin for the last couple of years.
Yeah. So here's the thing: we need to basically tell LaFleur, you want a year severance? Sure, we'll give you a year extension. I don't know, $10 million for the next year. And if we cut you next year and we fire you, then you get $10 million if you don't get another job. You could go to be like Cliff Kingsbury and go to
New Zealand,
Thailand with your hot girlfriend, or
Thailand,
maybe
yeah,
5 girlfriends he's got, and have a free year in Thailand, gallivanting around on our $10 million. I'm fine with that. That's totally good with me. But what we can't be doing is giving him a long-term extension of, $20 million a year, basically locking in for him personally that he's going to make $20 million a year for 5 years, whether it be in Green Bay or somewhere else.
Yeah.
We can't be doing that. He doesn't deserve it. So I'm good to give him another year, but if he goes, which I think he's going to, and ask for top dollar negotiation, then I would say we'll trade you. We'll let you walk. But here's the thing: we can't let the trade go on for too long because we need to get into the coaching. We need a top coach, right? So a trade's got to be very quick. We can't be doing what we did with Jair Alexander trying to trade LaFleur. You know,
Yeah.
so it's either LaFleur realizes he didn't get the job done this year. We'll give him a 1 year extension and basically give him a year's severance and make next year a prove it year. Or you trade him really quick, and if you can't find a trade partner really quick, you say thanks but no thanks, and you get one of the top coaches on the market. I know you didn't want John Harbaugh, but the fact that he had a house in the Upper Peninsula could have made Green Bay a good destination for him. And honestly, I wouldn't have been against that. So I mean, that's done now. But um, I don't know, guys. I think that LaFleur, unless he wins this or makes the Super Bowl next year, is probably done. So as long as we don't give him a big extension, I'm fine having him come back next year. I don't think he needs to be fired tomorrow. But it's really in his hands. Does he think he's worth 20 million a year? Because I don't. Do you guys think he's worth 20 million a year?
I think it's a really unique situation because it seems like this coaching salaries in general are like spiking over the last few years. So it's like the timing part of him being up, or like there only being 1 year left, right? And like him
Mm.
being essentially up and they don't want to be lame duck. The timing is terrible given the collapse, right? Because
Yep.
even if they ended up winning that Bears game, or even if they lost that Bears game and it was closer the whole game or whatever, like there's probably a much different feeling amongst Packers fans. What I will say though has been like a breath of fresh air and kind of taking a step back was what I sent you guys earlier, where Bill Huber posted that poll, basically just like gauging Packers fans on Twitter. Would you fire LaFleur, Goody, both, or neither? And overwhelming response was neither. Basically, it was like 80%, right? So it does really point to, I think it was close to 80% at least, but it does really point to like a loud majority of fans online that just are going to blindly hate LaFleur no matter what. Because I remember going to Packers games in probably his first season and also in like 2022, and there was already just like kind of obnoxious fans that were screaming fire LaFleur every time they
Mhm.
ran the ball too much or every time they passed too much or whatever, just wanting to complain about something. So that was refreshing. It was also refreshing seeing the media reaction, like the ESPN, like the talking head shows, because another big thing during a devastating loss for me personally, I don't know if you guys would, I would assume most people would agree with this, is like after a devastating loss, especially a playoff loss, the most painful thing is knowing that you don't just wake up the next day and it's like, oh, you could flush it. You're going to see all online. You're going to see memes. You're going to see people talking
Yep.
crap. You're going to see people making an example out of the Packers. You're going to see
Yep.
on, first take, like, is Jordan Love a clutch quarterback? It's like nonsense things, right? Not in relation to this game, but I'm just saying like
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
general, right? Seeing those headlines. So that's the worst, is knowing that the lasting sort of talking points for the whole offseason until, the draft is just going to be bad about the Packers. But what was nice was because there was like this loud uproar of fans that wanted LaFleur fired, it seems like most of the talking head shows and like other podcasts, they've reacted and basically been like, it'd be a nuts to get rid of LaFleur. Like the outside perspective is that Matt LaFleur is a great coach and that it would be insane to not extend his contract. So that is also, whether I'm not saying we necessarily fully agree with that in terms of money, but just knowing that the outside perspective of him is very positive. We don't have to hear all that noise about how he's a terrible coach. Because that would just balloon the whole, or I think that would drive the whole thing into the ground, right? If the media narratives was also that he is not a clutch coach and falls, short in these big games, et cetera, that would make it a lot more painful and honestly push the needle towards like getting rid of him, right? And then the last thing I'll say that has made this less painful too is based on how the Bears players reacted and how Ben Johnson specifically reacted to this game with this whole like
Oh
F the
yeah.
Packers and be most of what I've seen just like online and again on shows and stuff is like people are obviously saying it's great what the Bears have accomplished this season, but they've almost immediately kind of like put a sour taste in everybody's mouth about it because they're acting like children about it and kind of parading around their locker room and saying F the Packers, like beating us as their Super Bowl, right? Like they're basically proving that. So for like the general sentiment to have that sense that the Bears are basically just trying to they're basically giving us like, or the Packers players like motivation for next season by, you know, stomping it like on the victory, that the comeback win that they had, and essentially like, making a big scene out of it. So they're not handling that success very maturely. Like, I understand, obviously, there's a lot to be celebrated, and the Packers have dominated them for a long time. But I'm just saying the outside perspective being that the Bears probably need to chill a little bit and be more reasonable with the success they're achieving so far. Just makes me feel even more good about next season with the healthy players coming back, and then just like the Packers being extra motivated to, you know, get revenge on this collapse and all the shit talking that ensued afterwards. So that just kind of closes out why I've been able to move on quickly and feel a little bit more positive now.
I think the only thing I say with LaFleur, like, that always gives me the biggest gripe, and it's even in business in general. Like, when you go businesses with your friends, like, you most people tell you it's not good to go in business with friends. And the thing with LaFleur is he's not like with Sean McVay, where he fired his special teams coordinator after a week, like in the middle of the season. LaFleur doesn't do that. He's held them on too long when they should have been gone maybe a year or two ago. Like Joe Barry should have been gone. Like Rich Bisaccia should be gone this offseason. And that's the constant that I'd like to see with LaFleur is there's got to be change. Now, Halfley, he's probably going to leave, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But like, there's got to be changes offense. Now, he's brought back like Luke Getsy, he's brought back Nathaniel Hack and everybody, but it's like you need something else. You need something to stir the pot in this offense, especially when the O line was terrible this season. Stenovich, he's all right, which we don't know how much he helps out with LaFleur and everything, but you would like to see a change in the offense a little bit. In coaching wise, I like to see defensively. Halfley's been great and everything. I also like Marcus Covington as the D line coach. I like him a lot. And if Halfley's gone, he's one replacement. Another guy that I've seen that could be a good replacement for DC for us is the Eagles, I believe, secondary or DB's coach, Parker, who's been with the Packers and helped Jair Alexander have his all pro season and just helped Quinyon and Cooper DeJean have a all pro season as well. So, I think there has to be coaching change somewhere. I think there has to be a dress change because, like we were mentioned already before in the show, that like we've gotten the wild card team, we're the youngest team in the past couple of years. Okay, and we keep running it back. We did get Micah Parsons, and that was helpful until the downfall of the injury occurred. But you got to have some change. There has to be some change somewhere about it. And another thing that gripe about LaFleur is how the heck you don't use Matthew Golden. Now, I get like our receivers for the history of the Packers, it comes in a slow process for taking to learn. But it took them just a couple days ago for Matthew Golden to get his first NFL touchdown, and that's ridiculous to me. I don't think Golden was going to be the number one receiver guy, as Mike predicted. That was a bold prediction this upcoming season from this past season. But I think Matthew Golden has to be more of a role, has to take more involvement, and that could be with Romy Dawes being gone. That could be him. But it just surprised me of how there's something wide open for us to like acknowledge, and LaFleur has to see that, and he doesn't acknowledge that. So that's one thing that drives me a little crazy with LaFleur.
Yeah, I mean, just to close out LaFleur and respond to your Golden thing specifically, just because I have some thoughts about that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it sounds like the circumstances are that because of the coach salaries increasing, coaches getting longer term deals, Harbaugh literally just getting 5 years, 20 million, etc. There's not really an option where the Packers are going to say, "Oh, we re-signed him for 2 years, 20 million total," or something like that, right? It seems like the options are really either he plays out the current situation and he has a lame duck year next year, which I don't think is going to happen. They don't decide to extend him and they move on from him, or they sign him to a somewhat significant extension. I don't think something like 5 years, 100 million is going to happen. I just don't personally think the Packers would like invest that heavily into him based on the lack of playoff success overall. So I think it's probably going to end up being something, maybe it's like 3 years, 15 million a year or something like that, right? I think that's not, obviously I know we would be more comfortable with like 1 or 2 years, like let's see what you do next year sort of thing, but just that just doesn't seem to be the nature of how coaching contracts work, right? Like a coach is not going to want to be in that situation where their entire sort of like livelihood is on the line like that based on how they perform in one season. They want that job security. So just given the circumstances, given his like how I feel about LaFleur overall, I think I'm personally just fine with taking that risk of doing like a 3-year, whatever, 15. I don't think the money really matters, honestly. Like, I don't think we're going to see any impact of that. That's literally, there's no coach salary, right? That's just like operational costs of the Packers. Like, that's for them to figure out. So I don't think the money
Yep.
really matters. I think it's more just the number of years. And I think it's probably going to end up being like a 3-year thing. If it's 5 years, I'd be shocked. I don't think it's going to be 1 or 2 years because that's just pointless. They're going to be back at the drawing board again in a year or two. So I would say what I expect to happen is them to announce an extension that is probably a 3-year extension, I would say, which I would be fine with and take the risk of, if things don't turn around next year, it just was a bad gamble all around, But I believe enough in him that they'll turn it around next year and have more success. And then the thing on Matthew Golden, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think it's like frustrating to see him play really well in a playoff game. And just question why he was not more involved during the regular season. But
Mm-hmm.
I just personally feel like it's very hard to speculate about players and their roles because we have no idea what he was doing in practice and what his attitude was in practice. Like if he was making mistakes constantly. Like ultimately, think about it like this. Ultimately, like Jordan should be the one to have the most say of who he trusts the most and who he has the most chemistry with. So if he personally felt like, why isn't Golden on the field more? Like this dude's a stud. Like I have perfect chemistry with him. He would probably be having that conversation with Matt LaFleur to get him more integrated, right? I'm not saying that as a slight to Matthew Golden. I'm just saying like there's probably way more to it than we know, and he just has more chemistry with the older receivers that are on the team, and them knowing that it's probably Romeo Dobbs' last year. They're obviously going to try to maximize the productivity from him and like have him, the most playing time. So I think it's just a circumstantial thing, and I think he's going to burst onto the scene next year. I think obviously next year, if he doesn't have like a really productive year, like let's say even close to 1,000 and maybe like eight plus touchdowns, then that would be very concerning considering the investment we put into him. But I think just the way the Packers operate, they're just trying to make sure he actually fully understands the offense and that Jordan can trust him to be where he's supposed to be in moments. And, maybe it just so happens that he put it all together in the Bears game and looked the best he's ever looked, right? And they're like, holy crap, we do got to get him more involved next year. So it's also possible that he was making mistakes all season and made them nervous to put him in big spots. Who knows?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Definitely it is. No, I mean that was the end for LaFleur for me. But to go to the next real quick with Jeff Hafley, where do we think he's going to end up? Do you think he's going to stay? If he doesn't go, then where does he go? Because the biggest favorite now is because before it was the Giants, no longer that because of Harbaugh. The next favorite is the Miami Dolphins because Dolphins stole one of Goody's right hand mans on Eric Sullivan as the GM now as the Miami Dolphins. So where do we think, guys, that Jeff Hafley is going? I, I would think the Dolphins, me personally. I hope he stays. That's probably not going to happen, but I loved watching Hafley except the fourth quarter when that was
personally, I am going to say I think he stays, which I know seems very unlikely in the moment, but I just can't get past the fact that he himself said in numerous interviews towards the end of the year, like about Micah Parsons having a record-breaking season next year. He kept saying, put that on me, put that on Micah. I know that's like a coach like talking for his guy, but then also Micah said, I believe during locker cleanouts, that he thinks Hafley's coming back, which again, he could have been like joking, he could have been hoping for the best. I just think Hafley saying that, Micah saying that, and also just thinking about the fact that there's the unfinished business aspect to it where he probably feels like he didn't leave on a good note. Like he obviously would like to take another crack at the Super Bowl to an extent. And then also just thinking about the head coaching jobs that are open too. Like, I mean, the Steelers is definitely pretty appealing now that that's open, but Miami, that roster is terrible. So it's like, if he wants to walk into kind of like a rebuild situation, sure, but I don't know. That's a pretty like dicey head coaching gig to take. I understand that John Eric Sullivan from the Packers is now the GM, and that would be kind of like the momentum to be part of a rebuild. But I don't know. I could also understand people making the argument of like, oh, if you want to be a head coach, like you got to take the opportunities when they're open. You never know if you're going to get that, this round of interviews again. So I could also understand that devil's advocate of like, there's no way he's going to do 6 interviews and not take one of those jobs. But there's just something in my gut, and it's probably just a prayer and a hope that he's going to be back next year.
It's
Halfley.
interesting to see where
Yeah.
the
I'm,
amount of teams that are open. Yeah, half
I'm
league.
going to take this as the entire coordinators because I want to speak about somebody after Halfley. Look, I've been overall happy with Halfley. I think he's done a good job. I mean, I don't think the defense has been sus at times, but overall he's done a good job. I would love to have Halfley back. No issue there. Do I think he gets a head coaching job? Um, um, maybe actually because he got an interview in Dolphins and now John Eric Sullivan's their GM. So it's possible. It's possible he becomes the Miami's next coach. I don't know. I feel like it's not as big of a risk as some other people think if Miami doesn't get him. I think Miami is probably the biggest risk to me. Could be wrong there, but um, I would think I'd give him about a 75% chance of returning. But there's definitely a chance he's gone. The other two coordinator positions, though, I think we have to have a conversation. I'll start with the easy one, and then
I agree.
we could go to the probably more controversial one. Um,
Yeah.
Rich Bisaccia, I was all for him. You could go back in our posts and stuff, and I was very happy we got Rich Bisaccia as the special teams coach. I think the Packers at that time was really neglecting that special teams coordinator position for a long time. I remember when we had that guy, I forget his name, but he couldn't. You listened to him on a press conference, and he was like,
Maurice
he
Drayton, I
sounded
believe.
so like he had no idea what he was talking about. It was scary. You know who I'm talking about? Probably not.
I
Um,
believe Maurice Drayton, if is
wow, this
my
guy's
guess.
you're great, Jeremy. Um, that's why Jeremy runs the show.
Insider
Yeah,
here.
Wait,
exactly.
sorry. You were saying there was an interview with Maurice Drayton where
Well, just
he sounded clueless.
every week, every Thursday, they have the coordinators get interviewed,
Yeah.
and I was watching him more back then. It was during COVID, and I just was
Oh,
watching.
gotcha. You were just saying he sounded like
He
concerningly
just,
clueless.
yeah, he sounded clueless. He had no idea what he was talking. Couldn't even talk. Um, but yeah, so getting Rich Bisaccia, I thought was a big win for this year. I was very happy, but it never materialized. It never materialized. I forgot he was a coach, honestly. Like special teams lost us both Bears
He's supposed
games,
to
and
be a
that's
head coach.
huh?
He was almost a head coach of the
Intern.
Raiders,
He was. He was
or
interim
he
head coach.
was.
And that's
I mean, full time wise, he
right,
was
and
the
that's
interim head coach, but almost. Yeah, but he almost got the full time. Is what I meant.
right, and that's why I was so excited about getting him. I was like, look, we got basically two head coaches on this team. Special teams is going to be completely better. And I don't think it ever got much better. I mean, I don't think they made some of the dumb mistakes they made in the past, but I don't know. I mean, McManus just really sucked, honestly, and McManus should not be in this team anymore. I think we got to draft a kicker actually this year. Um, yeah, losing both games of special teams is it for Rich Bisaccia, especially with the money he's getting paid. He's just not earning it. So,
Yep.
Rich Bisaccia is done for me. I think that's easy. I think that's going to happen. It seems like that's pretty clear. So I'm not even spend much time on that. But very disappointed, Rich Bisaccia. But I was all for that. So I was wrong. So I'll admit that. But here's the other one that I think is even bigger. Um, I don't know. I feel like Adam Stenovich was a really good offensive line coach, but he's just been a mediocre offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would can him too, honestly. I think that we need to just start new on the coaches. And I was reading an article, so I didn't really read the article, but I saw something that basically said like our whole assistant coaching staff kind of sucked. I don't know. That's why maybe just restart, would get rid of the floor and restart all in the coaching. I think they just got to. I don't know. To me, like the only coach that really excites me is Halfley. Um, and I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on the coaches, but there's just something missing on the coaching side. I don't know how to put my finger on it, and I don't think LaFleur has done a great job building that recently. Other than I think the Halfley hire is a good hire. No one obviously was pushing for that from the fan base, so I'll give that to LaFleur. And again, I'll give him one more season, but I'm not very impressed by Stenovich. I'll be honest, as offensive coordinator. I think he was a really good offensive line coach, but we also lost this game because of offensive line in a lot of ways. I think the offensive line probably was the most mediocre it's been since the Packers won the Super Bowl. I mean, this was a really mediocre offensive line room. And I know they lost Alden Jenkins. Zach Tom got hurt just as much as Micah Parson got hurt and didn't play again. It's tough. It's tough when all that happens.
Yep.
But there's just been some development that really hasn't been there. I mean, Jordan Morgan played pretty good, I think. Aaron Banks was probably a bust. Shouldn't have done that. Sean Ryan has outplayed some people's thoughts of him early on in his career, but he's not going to be a barn burner anytime soon. I don't know. I just think the offensive line was lacking, and it really lacked that game. Once the Bears started dialing up pressure in the second half, they were not in a good spot. So, look, I think there's a lot of things this team needs to get better on in the offseason, and I need a plan from LaFleur. I don't want to, hey, I deserve a bunch of money. I want to, next year's going to be a prove-it year for me. Then you'll give me a bunch of money. Fair with me.
Yeah, I mean, if that was possible, that would be great. I just don't know if that's literally possible because I think he would just say, okay, I'm going to go to college or I'm going to go to Miami or whatever. Like I don't think he would put himself in a situation where he only has 1 year left on his contract, but I could be wrong. That would be the ideal scenario. LaFleur. Yes, I'm saying right. Like I don't think he would play out like the last year of his contract. But you're just saying,
you're saying he has to get extended this year.
Right. Like
right, which is why I'm saying like we're kind of in a situation where this is the decision. Right. And right now, my decision is no. So if our decision is no, the 1 year prove it year really doesn't work. Like it sounds great, but you know what also sounds great? Like, I don't know. We're on a show, but like a really attractive girlfriend sounds great. And like is it possible? Sure. But is it easy? Is it easy said than done? Right. So what I'm saying is yeah, sure, it sounds great. Let's have LaFleur back for 1 more year, but it's not reality.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree. So it's like I think it's probably going to be like a 3-year thing, which I would be fine with. But it sounds like you would not be cool with a 3-year extension.
I mean, all right. Let me put it another way, where we can make a joke about this. Because clearly, I have thoughts about.
Here's the thing. I'll say real quickly before Mike gets into another one is I take back with Jeff being the analysis out here. I say Mike is the Mr. Analogy guy. If you need a comparison to something, Mike's the guy to do that.
Yeah.
Continue, Mike.
So let's say you're dating somebody, right? And you've gone on 5 dates. And yeah, not really, right? But then they say, hey, we've been on 5 dates. I think we need to make this serious, or maybe even think about like an engagement. But you've just said after 5 dates that not really. But then so what's the reason to keep going? Is I guess what I'm saying, right? Like you just told me you're not so hot about it, but you'd be okay with a 3-year commitment. I'm saying
I absolutely want him back next year at minimum. I do not want him fired at all.
I agree.
I do not want him gone at all. I want.
So you're
him
ready
back
to marry him?
I'm ready to commit to him for 2 to 3 more years, if that means he's back next year. I think
you're afraid of the alternative of not having any coach that's any good.
No, I just personally think the risk proposition of blowing it up at this point in time when they just pushed all those chips in the middle of the table is too risky. You're not going to win. You're not going to win a Super Bowl year 1 with a new head coach. It's just not going to happen.
Look, that's challenging.
We're already floating down the river, Mike. We got to continue.
We got to get over the other thing. Is that
we trade for a Hall of Fame potential guy. We trade for literally almost a Hall of Fame potential guy, and we're ready to blow it all up. And
but you want to waste
LaFleur goes.
No,
let's just put it this way,
Mike. We're not. So let me put it this way. I don't think you're wrong in any way. I just personally, I think it's like 2 sides of a coin, a very even coin, where it's like I could understand the argument of pulling the plug right now and just moving on, but that's with the assumption that he's shown the best he can and he's not going to take us to a Super Bowl next year. But I just personally am more in belief of the other side of the coin that there's more likelihood that we would win a Super Bowl next year if he comes back. And then if he wins a Super Bowl next year, he's earned the extra 2 years. Like I'm happy with that.
But isn't he in a prove it? I mean, didn't he put himself in this position?
I personally
get the job done when he had a chance.
Who's
him to dictate terms here?
I think personally, given the fact that he has had two different, he came into the situation with Aaron Rodgers, resurrected his career. That was one chapter. Yes, they were knocking on the door of the Super Bowl. You don't think
No one
he
resurrected Aaron Rodgers' career. That's wrong. No one resurrected Aaron Rodgers' career. I think they had a better relationship than McCarthy did. But Rodgers.
All right. Well, he had the Rodgers chapter. I understand. Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm not saying he like made Rodgers into an MVP. I'm just saying him coming in.
He helped them.
Dude, literally Rodgers during his second MVP acceptance speech in 2021, he literally thanked Matt LaFleur during the speech and said, "You helped me get here. You got me back to this form." So he literally said it to Matt LaFleur himself during his speech. So yes, he gets credited with resurrecting Aaron Rodgers' career and getting them to the doorstep of the Super Bowl. Yes, they should have won it, but they understand they didn't. But also David Bakhtiari's fucking knee exploded. So it's like nobody could have saw that coming in a practice, right? So there's just been these like weird injury things that have happened over time, special teams disasters, etc. I think he has shown enough to earn one more year. I think he has earned at least one more year. But yes, the whole issue is that he's in the middle of a contract negotiation, so it's not just one more year. But I would rather him. Yes. Oh, sorry. I didn't even I meant to say that was the second chapter. Is that he got Jordan Love to be. Jordan Love was in MVP conversations around the Broncos game before the whole season imploded. But that's pretty incredible to take one of the oldest rosters in the league with Aaron Rodgers, get it to a Super Bowl for him, and then have that thing scrapped down to be the youngest team in the league 3 years in a row, and almost have that that team in the playoffs and win a playoff game with them. But right now is the moment where they got to take the next step. Yes, but I'm just saying, one more year is not possible. It's got to be a 2 or 3 year commitment just based on how the contracts are going to work. So I'm willing to take that bet of him coming back next year. Not when whatever. Maybe they fire him. Who knows?
And it's not the transfer portal in college, folks. You can't just do it 1 year of like Mike's saying the relationship one date. Oh, I don't like this, or I've been in this commitment. Oh, I want to chase. No, this is NFL. You can't transfer kids.
You gotta have some
traded unless they make.
You gotta have some.
Which is why I'm saying we have a problem here. But okay, so let me explain something to you real quick. So LaFleur's had two halves of his Packers career. Mm-hmm. One, he was robbing, actually, right? His job when Rodgers was here was to get out of Rodgers' way. Like McCarthy and Rodgers were headbutting a little bit, and it was not good. Are you a mime now?
He was showing the coin, the two sides of the coin.
Two sides of the coin. You guys keep referencing. I gotta show that.
But look, LaFleur just needed to basically be Rodgers' sidekick and kind of let Rodgers run the show and run the rest of the team. And then that's really what his job was the first 2 years.
I think you could argue that he had to keep Rodgers in check and draw boundaries to run the team, dude. Like I don't think we could say the definitive either way.
I don't think.
Did we not see what happened with the Jets and the
that they were
Steelers?
a good team together. I think they both respected each other. I think they both were what each other needed at the time. When Rodgers leaves, right, and that opens up where, okay, now everyone's young. Now we need leadership, right? Because we lost the MVP, veteran in the locker room. Who do we look up to as a bunch of young guys coming out of college in the NFL? We look up to the head coach, right? So now we need a leader. That's where I think LaFleur has lacked. I think that the leader with this young team has not been great. Now, you could say, okay, Jordan Love has been pretty good. I don't think he's been amazing. I don't think he's the next Josh Allen. I don't think he's the next Rodgers, right? But I think he's been pretty good. He's better than the alternative of not having Love. So don't get me wrong. I'm very happy with Love. You don't always have a Brett Favre. You don't always have a Rodgers. So to have Love, who I think is probably about 80% of what Rodgers is pretty good. I think that's pretty good. But don't forget,
Mike. Maybe your standards are the issue here. If Jordan Love is just pretty good for you, maybe you need to set more reasonable expectations here. And maybe that advice.
I think as Packers fans, we're used to MVP caliber performance at that position, right? I don't think anybody's saying Love deserved an MVP this year or last year or the year before that. Again, I'm very happy with Love. I'm not saying to try to replace him. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing with Love. I still haven't seen any command late in the game. I know he beat the Giants late in the game, and Jeff and I were
Bro,
at the
he
game.
put up
and-
4 touchdowns against the Bears. What the
Okay,
hell
but
else do you
that's
want from
throughout
him?
the game. I'm talking about late in the game when you need
Just
to
because
win,
it didn't
when
happen in the
magic goes.
last 3 minutes, it doesn't mean that he put up an incredible performance. That doesn't. Come on, man.
This is literally
Again,
national
he had a
media
good
saying
game.
this
He's
about
had
his
some good
clutchness
playoff
out here,
games.
folks.
But they still haven't had the performance. I know wins aren't a QB stat, but
Are you Stephen A. Smith over here or what?
no. But come on. I mean,
Yes.
look again. I'm not. This is not me shitting on Love. It's not. I'm not doing that at all. What I'm saying is he hasn't had the magic other quarterbacks have had late in the season or late in games. I mean, look at Josh Allen; they're never out of it. Look at Patrick Mahomes; they were never out of it. Up until this year. I guess what I'm saying is I just haven't seen that magic out of him. He's a great quarterback. He clearly learned from Rodgers. He could put the ball where it needs to be most of the time. I still haven't seen him put the team on his back and go and win a game. That's what I'm missing. I've seen everything else. I haven't seen him put the team on the back and go and win the game. Do you agree with that?
I'll just remind you once again what Jeremy has already reminded you of. You saw in person him lead a game-winning drive with a beautiful pass to Christian Watson in the end zone to win a game.
That might have been the
Come
best
on,
one.
man.
That might have been the best one. And I was there, so it's a little bit different because you're paying attention to the game. But what do you call it? That's one situation against the Giants, who had 3 wins this year. So I don't count that.
All right.
Let
if you
me
want to put the Giants out here. We can look at this. He clutched up against the Cowboys game, even though it ended a tie.
But hold up. The
against
Cowboys game's the
Cardinals.
worst situation.
hold on. The show is gonna get derailed
He
if we
still
if
got
we
the field goal.
if we dig
What do you
into
mean?
Jordan Love clutch performances. The show's gonna get
Wait,
derailed.
you're talking about this year's?
Yeah.
This year is actually the thing I'm thinking about. One second. So yes, he had a great game. They scored 40 points. The defense is the reason why they screwed that up, right? Don't get me wrong. I get that you can't blame Love for that tie game. I'm not saying I blame him that, but the way they went down in that 2-minute drill was atrocious. It was probably the worst 2-minute drill I've ever seen the Packers do. And honestly, we don't even make the playoffs if we don't have Jesus take the ball and hit the what do you call it, goalpost to stop the clock at 1 second. If that ball doesn't, I think it stopped at like 0.1 seconds.
That's true.
If that ball doesn't hit the goalpost, we lose that game.
That's true. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I still haven't.
Yes, but I'm just saying he's still.
No, Mike. Let me put it.
I'm just saying he's still
yeah.
got the job done.
Let me put it this way. I will agree with you that Jordan Love is not Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. But outside of those two, I think I would take Jordan Love over any other quarterback in the league.
Like, let's take it from this perspective here, guys. You have, like, as Jeff just mentioned, Mahomes, Allen, you have all the greats. But if you look at the NFC wise, if we're really looking at that, you want to lay it down. Jordan Love is one of the best quarterbacks, if even the best QB. You can argue it otherwise. But Jordan proved he's a top 10 quarterback. We've seen that.
I'm not saying.
So you want him? So you're only going to be satisfied if he's the number 1 or 2 best quarterback in the league.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is what I haven't seen from him yet, and I'm not even comparing him to other people when it comes to overall. Right? I'm not saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm saying what I've missed from Love is that I want him to see him say, okay, we need to win this game. This is our legacy on the line here, right? We're going to go out and we're going to get this fucking drive, and we're not going to let the defense screw this up. This is, I'm going to start making the calls at the line of scrimmage like Rodgers did, and I don't even care what LaFleur tells me. I know what I'm doing. I can read the defense. We're going down on this 2-minute drill. Guys, you're on my back, and we're going to go and we're going to score. They're not getting the ball back again, right? We're going to do it, and we're going to – I still haven't seen that. What I see with Love.
He did the Thanksgiving game, the fourth down play twice.
Thanksgiving game.
The Thanksgiving game to end the ball game. He did it and won it. LaFleur literally said to him, go out and literally give me 2 plays. You have 2 plays to go give me a first down and end this ball game. And what did Jordan Love do? He did it. Even called the can plays. He literally was changing up because we see with Jordan making the tempo out here. He did it, Mike.
I'm sure there's situations, but it's not more often than not. And maybe he got 1 first down there, and that was good. But I just didn't remember that, and I'm not sure we could look back at the tape. But there's many magical moments we could say for a lot of people, including Rodgers. Now, no one's going to be Rodgers. Don't get me wrong,
Mike. I'm sorry, but you're still in love with your ex. You got to let Rodgers go. Okay,
no, listen,
he's gone. He's gone.
What I'm saying is, that's the missing piece of Love. again, I'm not complaining about Love. I'm just saying, if there's one thing I need to see him do is put the team on his back, go out there, read the defenses.
Just more than the 4 to 5 times you've already seen. I got you. That's fine.
But
That's
what
fine.
was that
Thank
Cowboys
you.
game? I'm sorry, that Cowboys game was atrocious. Did you ever see Rodgers run a 2-minute drill like that? You ever seen?
But
Josh
it's not
Allen run a
here's
2-minute drill like that?
but here's the thing though. You got to think about the fact that the rest of the offense is fucking young as shit, and they're also.
I don't care.
I'm saying like most. Look, if you were to go back, I genuinely believe this. If you were to go back and look at games where you're like, oh, he should have came up more clutch in this moment here or there, I guarantee you, the majority of the reason that drive died out is either like false starts, holding, dropped pass that he dropped perfectly in a receiver's hands, fumble. Like maybe there's some instances where he throws some instances where he throws a goofy interception. But I would venture to guess over the last 3 years, most of the games that he was in a situation for a clutch drive and they did not win the game was because somebody else made a catastrophic mistake.
So we're gonna blame everything on somebody else, is what I'm saying. Like,
but he can't prevent somebody else from like literally blowing the game up.
I agree with that.
And that happened in the Bears game
I gotta say something
with the Jay Reed part.
So if somebody else fucked up, right, and they fucked up because of a mental mistake, right? If somebody slips because it's wet and whatever, look, there's some things you can yell at people for, and there's some things you can't. Like, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone drops the ball sometimes, right? But what's not okay is a drop ball because you were looking forward before you caught the ball, right? That's just a mental mistake. That's what you practice for. You show up so that you don't make the mental mistakes. And if for some reason some physical mistake happens, whatever, right? But the mental mistakes are the things you got to call people out on. I mean, how many times when Rodgers, the guy ran the wrong route, you'd see him like curse him out on the thing. Like, what are you doing, right? Like you ran. I've never seen Love do that. That's another thing, right? Like, you're going to blame everything on everybody else. Sure. So then why isn't Love over there saying, what the hell? You know, we practiced this. Like, you cannot fuck this up for the rest of the team. You know, like, it's true, though, because here's the thing. Love is the leader of this team. Well, other than LaFleur.
Love is,
right.
but he doesn't have the same
happening.
Okay,
guys.
but he doesn't have the same demeanor. He doesn't have the same demeanor as what we have with
That's
Rodgers.
A problem.
Because
it's a problem.
what I've seen with Love, yes, he needs to step up a bit on that. But
this game cannot be lost, and we're okay with it. I'm sorry. Like, this is what I'm saying. I'm not
okay with the loss. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Angry on that team that this happened. Who was showing some emotion when they were coming back that we can't allow this to happen? I didn't see any of it.
I mean, I'll agree with that. Like, I think the second half they definitely deflated, but I don't know how that ties back to.
Like, he is the guy. He's making $50 million, right?
He made every damn throw he possibly could. I understand what you're saying. He's just not Rodgers. He's not a vocal, scream in your face kind of guy.
That's what I'm saying. He needs to figure out how to get people put in their place.
You're describing something that's very specific to Aaron Rodgers. You got to realize that. Like, literally Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, you don't see them screaming their teammates out when they make mistakes. That doesn't happen.
Only Mahomes is just yelling at the refs. That's about it.
Like, you're describing a characteristic that's very specific to Aaron Rodgers, and that's fine. Like, he was great, and he was great at that, but you can't expect Love to be like that. Rodgers is one-on-one. I would say I respect the fact that Jordan Love has a wife and a baby on the way and is a normal-ass person, and Rodgers is freaking like, that comes along with it. I'd rather my quarterback be like a good – I shouldn't say good dude. Aaron Rodgers is a good guy. I shouldn't say he's not a good guy. But, like, I'd rather have my quarterback be a normal-ass dude who could have a family by the time he's, like, 40 fucking years old.
Well,
then be some hard ass who's gonna scream his receiver out for running the wrong route. That's all. I agree,
but the thing is that resulting in success when we need it? I don't know. Like, this can't happen. This game cannot happen. There are certain things that can happen where, okay, you just are being a micromanager, you're yelling at people all the time. And there are things that just can't happen. You can't go up and go into halftime 21-6, whatever it was. We're up 18 and lose that game. I'm sorry, guys. It can't happen. And once you see it's happening that way, and we've been here before, it's not like we don't have experience of losing big games because people came back. Somebody needs to put a stop to it. And that's what I didn't see. I didn't see anybody put a stop to it. And it happened. So, look, they weren't going to go very far anyway. I don't think we should lose any sleep over it. But this can't happen. Otherwise, we're never going to win the Super Bowl here. Guys, it's been 16 years since we've been in the Super Bowl. And
Yep.
I was 14 at the time. Jeremy is what? 5 at the time.
8.
We owe it to ourselves that we have to
Jeremy.
have high standards here. Otherwise, we're going to be 40 if we're still doing the show before they win the Super Bowl. I don't know about you, but I want to have a Super Bowl party, sooner rather than later. So
Jeremy
need
was
to figure this out.
8 years old.
This
was
game
8 years
can't
old.
happen.
I'll never forget it.
They
I was with
weren't
my
going to make the
grandpa.
Super Bowl this year, more than likely, but we would have been 2 games away from the Super Bowl if they would have just got one more touchdown and didn't let the Bears come away. If you could ask to be 2 games away in the beginning of the season with the worst team left, you would have taken that every day of the week. To lose that game was not good. I'm sorry.
Also, we got to remember that Brandon McManus missed 7 points of field goal, or 2 kicks and an extra point, right? So it's like Jordan
That's
Love.
why they need to go. There's
But
no
no,
excuse.
I agree with you, but I'm saying Love got them in position to score even more points. Like Love essentially earned them 7 points,
Here we go. Wait,
7 more
sorry.
points. But
There we go, folks. Here we go. John in the chat, folks. As we are blocking out Jeff a little, but this is Jeff or John's comment here. Ed policy needs Mike's sense of urgency.
No,
Welcome
this
to
is
the
a
call,
sad year,
John.
guys. This could have been our year. This playoffs really isn't that strong. And we had Micah Parsons, we had Tucker Kraft, we had all the Devontae Wyatt, and they all got hurt. It's really disappointing. None of that is on LaFleur or Love. But what I do need to see is some passion and some. We can't let this happen.
No,
I need
agree
to
on
see
that.
some devotion, and I didn't see it really. I'll be honest. Now maybe I missed it. I was at a bar, and it was all Packers fans. It was interesting. It was a fun time. But the thing is I don't know. We let it happen. We can't let that happen. We had a chance to put all those Bears fans home crying, and instead they're laughing at us. Not good.
Yep. No, it's not.
fair enough.
And that's just how it is. But that will about wrap it up here, folks. I want to give one last quick segment because I know we've been on for so long. So one quick, just to both Jeff and Mike here. You pick the free agents out here, and I'm going to list them here. Pick 3 guys, just 3 guys you want the Packers to bring back, and that's either with a signed deal, and you can still make it happen and everything. But I'm just going to list guys out right now in the chat. John, if you're still watching, still after the comment, even list your list too, as you like to hear. But first, Quay Walker, Malik Willis, Sean Ryan, Zane Anderson, Romeo Dobbs, Emmanuel Wilson, Kingsley Enikbari, Rasheed Walker, Brenton Cox, Bo Melton, even though he didn't play CB, I'm pretty sure, John Fitzpatrick, which is a tight end, and Darian Kennard. And technically Trayvon Diggs, but that's most likely to get released anyway. But pick your 3 guys that you want the Packers to bring back. And this isn't based on that they're actually going to, but who would you want?
I missed the first half of the list, to be honest with you. Can you say that one more time for me?
Okay, yes, I got you, Jeff. Okay. Quay Walker, John Fitzpatrick, Malik Willis, Sean Ryan, Zane Anderson, Romeo Dobbs, Emmanuel Wilson, Bo Melton, Darian Kennard, Kingsley Enikbari, and Rasheed Walker.
The only 4 I really care about that much, I would say, are Walker, Ryan.
Who do you want to bring back? Mike, do you have yours?
Wait, you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's finished.
I think you froze for a second, Jeremy.
Which Walker? Quay or Rasheed?
Oh, Quay. Rasheed
No.
Rasheed gone. Rasheed. It's rare that I will turn on a player, but I'm done with Rasheed. He had such a bad game, and every time it panned to him, I just wanted to throw something at the TV because he would let a defender right by him, or he had a holding call, and he would just look up to the sky like, what is going on right now? And I just was very frustrated seeing his performance. Because he's been there before. He's had good, solid playoff performances. But anyways, Quay Walker, Sean Ryan, Emmanuel Wilson, and Enikbari. I think those are really the only. I would narrow it down. I think I think he's a great backup, but I think ultimately they could probably draft somebody. It'd be great if oh my God, I'm blanking. Our prize child from the second round last year. Marshawn Lloyd. Yeah, it'd be great if he could see the field, which seems increasingly unlikely at this point, given that he's been out for all 2 the entire both seasons he's been in the league. But Quay Walker, Sean Ryan, Enigbare, I think, is what I would say. Sean Ryan at the right price too. I mean, I feel like he's solid. I think more of a depth piece. I don't
He's
think they
cheap.
want.
He'll be cheap.
Yeah, I mean, if they could work it out where he stays at center, maybe I think ultimately they should and probably can upgrade. But if they need to bring him back and for a decent deal or sorry, like a decent price to be able to make the financials work, otherwise, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, for me, it's
Mike?
Romeo Dobbs, Quay Walker. I think Quay Walker is actually really good. So I think he's number one. I think Romeo Dobbs is number two. And then number three for me is going to be Kingsley Enigbare. Obviously, Malik Willis I'd like to have back, but I think it's going to be too expensive to get back, unfortunately.
For sure. They'll get a nice comp pick for him, though, in theory.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really care about anybody else on that list.
Wait, so Dobbs, I'm curious about.
Okay.
I mean, I understand he's a very solid receiver. He tends to have clutch moments in big games, but it's not that I don't like Romeo Dobbs. It's just that they have so many other receivers, and they literally have like Matthew Golden in the hopper that needs opportunities, right? So it's like I just don't know financially. Like he's probably going to command like 15 a year. Like I feel like some team is going to pay him like 12 to 15 a year, and I just don't think that's going to be feasible.
I think
for
he's
us.
gonna get.
Well, I'm not saying that I know.
I think it's like an
numbers
MVS type of deal.
Okay, no, that's okay. Gotcha. No, that's fair. If you were answering the question just in the context, honestly, Jeremy, I wasn't sure. Like, if you were answering just in the context of like who you would want back in a perfect world, yeah, I would agree with you. But I just like realistically, they're not going to be able to afford his contracts.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah. I mean, Quay, I think that's the number one priority because that linebacker core is very good, I want to say, in this Packers defense that I've really liked the past couple of years compared to other years where it didn't have that same spark that I liked with when we had the Super Bowl team. Like when you had the big hits, you had guys going fast, quick guys, and that was something I think the Packers lacked the past couple of years since the Super Bowl. And Cooper has been phenomenal. I love watching Cooper and as well. He can't catch the ball, but that's what a linebacker's supposed to do at that point. But Quay, I think he has to get re-signed. That's Goody's one priority. If you have to bring back a guy, bring him back. I think that's the case for him. He's gonna get probably $10 million a year, so I think maybe a 3 or 4 year deal. I think you have to deal with Quay Walker, realistically, if I had to guess. But yeah.
Yeah, Quay's one where it's like I don't know. I feel like he's had a lot of great moments and he is a solid player, but I just don't know if he's worth it, honestly. Like I feel like if Tyron Hopper was to develop, like I don't know, I go back and forth with Quay, where I don't know if he's worth it, honestly, because they're gonna have to pay him probably, I don't know what, 12 a year, probably something like that, 15 maybe.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't know. If the money wasn't a huge factor, I would love to have him back. Like he seems like a great, just fit with the team, like just culture wise and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's worth it. He's just one I've been thinking about where it's like I don't really know whether he's like good enough to warrant bringing back on like a $15 million a year contract.
It's fair.
Mm-hmm. I totally understand that. Yeah, I mean the Hopper situation, Jeff, is like the interesting thing because I really haven't seen like Hopper. I mean, there's like flashes of Hopper like doing good, but like but I would like to see him like kind of show me something more. I need to see like a little bit more of like, okay, I could get behind if we don't want to bring Quay back. Then I'm like, and we bring and Hopper goes, I'm like, okay, then I kind of understand what some people are saying about with Hopper of like, okay, this guy can really show up and everything. I'm like, yeah, that's all I want to see. If we don't go with Quay, I need to see something out of Hopper that gives me confidence. I'm like, okay, maybe that wasn't the worst decision for us.
Right.
Like that's all I'm saying with Hopper because I just haven't seen anything out of Hopper. Whereas Quay, there is some good stuff I like out of Quay.
Yeah, it's just more. So I don't disagree with that. It's just it feels like Quay is such a boomer bust player where he either has an incredible game or an incredible couple of like series of defensive, and then. Like for instance, because I read a lot of like Justice Mosqueda stuff and listen to him on like Andy Herman's podcast, and he was basically saying like in his film breakdown, that Quay was like garbage in that game basically. Like Quay, like he said that Quay gave up like 120 yards probably like in like mental errors of like gunning too much on the run and then getting like baited into a play action pass. So that, for instance, is just like, I feel like there has been a lot of moments where it's like, yes, he could be like this physical force, like bring that tenacity and, you know, blow up the occasional run play. But I feel like for the most part, he usually does some head scratching stuff where he could be a liability as well. So that's why I'm just like, that combined with the price tag, I just don't know if it's worth it. But we'll see.
Gotcha. Yeah, we will see here, folks. We definitely will. But we'll wrap it up here. Do you guys have any last thoughts before we close it out of where you can find you?
I'll go first. Yeah, last thoughts is another year down the drain, I guess. It's unfortunate. I don't think they were going to get very far, but at least we could have been talking about a game against Seattle another week. Did we lose Jeremy?
Yeah, I was gonna say he looked possessed for a second.
Uh-oh. Well, he probably didn't like what I was saying, but you know, we could have had another week of entertainment. Instead, I'll probably be going to a Bears bar with some friends and being a secret. You know, have you ever played that game Among Us? That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be.
Oh my god, I forgot about that game.
In a Bears bar.
Wait, is that actually you're actually doing that? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go,
nice,
and I'm gonna bring my Packers stuff, but I'm not gonna show it to anybody, right? And I'm gonna wait to see if they lose, and if they lose, then I'm gonna put it on and see what happens.
Dude, you're gonna get punched in the face, especially because we freaking lost to them.
All right,
man.
maybe I won't bring some Packers.
Yeah, don't. But I would say I like the idea overall because if they lose, you will get to just like relish in their sadness. But I would advise against. I would advise against bringing the Packers stuff because
maybe I'll go live or something and be like, oh, I'm so sad. So sad. Yeah, I'm going to be like a secret saboteur going to this Bears bar. But if they win, then no one knows.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
And then just do it. If they happen, I don't think they're going to win, but if they happen to win, then you could do it again for the NFC Championship game, and that'll be even more painful for them.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So we'll see what happens. See if I even get in. I mean, I've never been to this Bears bar. I don't know how packed it gets. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna have some fun there. But here's the thing: I can't root for them, so I'm just gonna have to look like I don't care about football, right? So like I can't tell anybody. I hope my friends don't tell everybody I'm a Packers fan. I might lose my what do you call it?
Your undercover
status.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I like it. No, I mean I think we covered a lot. You know, it's good being back on the show. Honestly, can't even remember. I think it's been like 6 months since I've been on. Honestly. Because I think I was going to come on around training camp, but then we got busy. But yeah, great being back in the mix. Looking forward to doing it more regularly, and we'll see how consistent we keep this thing.
Cool. All right, so I have to end us because Jeremy got ended himself. He what do you call it? Couldn't take the loss, so he had to run away. But no, thanks everyone for joining. Now we enter into the off season, and we probably won't be as consistent, but we'll probably have some shows leading up to the Super Bowl. And yeah, we thank everyone for joining. We also thank Jeff for coming on again. Jeff will be more of a regular on the show, hopefully, and hopefully, you guys enjoy having the three of us and not me ranting so much. So yeah, appreciate everyone for joining. Jeff, where can people find you real quick?
I'm not very active on social, but I do have it in my name tag there, J McMahon on Twitter or X. I also was going to point out that I thought it was very funny that like every other time I've been on the show, I would just write Jeff and you guys would have your handle in your name. And then this time I wrote my handle in my name and you guys just put your actual names without your handles.
Yeah, I've forgotten to do that. Also, we're on this Riverside thing, which is a little
right. It's just funny that the one time I put it in there, it was like, I was like, oh crap, they didn't put theirs in there.
I did forget to do that. But oh, look who's back. Jeremy, we're just about to sign off. So
I've been watching the whole time. My Wi-Fi just literally went out, so now I'm back. All right.
Nice.
All right, Jeremy,
you literally.
where do people find
Did you see that screenshot I sent? You literally looked possessed.
Yes, I did.
It was insane.
Where do people find you, Jeremy?
People can find me on the YouTube where you can find my GOAT series videos. So I just popped out the 1950s, so you can tune back for that. Then you go to the 1940s, the great Packer days, and then 1930s, 1920s are all coming out very soon for that.
Is that the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl? 1930?
That was when you were born, Mike.
That's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like as a football fan. But yeah, you can find me on the YouTube channel. And then of course here on PackReacts, you'll find me. And then you can find my YouTube shorts if you just want to see more fun comedic stuff on their football memes. So yeah, you can find me on there.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the viewers for watching. Another Packers season in the books for PackReacts. This is our 4th season doing it together, Jeremy, right? So
yes, 4 seasons.
We're lucky to do it. And we're lucky to be Packers fans. In win or loss, go Pack Go. So let's end the show on a go Pack Go. Ready?
Okay.
Go.
Go Pack. I thought you were going to count down.
Yeah, but the
That's what I
countdown's
thought.
kind of crazy. All right,
Okay,
3, 2, 1.
Go
Go
Pack. Go.
Pack Go.
Go Pack Go.
All right, take us out, Jeremy.